Hey everyone, this is Kresil back with another video, and so about a couple of years ago on one of my last videos, I was going to do a video on why studio interference keeps ruining good films. Because that's actually a common thing that keeps happening in Hollywood. When directors and so many hard-working people are putting all their all and efforts into making a really good film, but for some reason the studio executives keep putting their foot in the door and decide to march in and change everything up and toning it down, trimming down parts that they've already put in, and just putting some of their own things in it, as well as adding in their own stuff, as well as taking away from what the director has already put in. And much like the pandemic, it's obviously never going to stop. And the main subject I'm about to bring up for this video is regarding the future of the DC Extended Universe. And so far most of its films have been undergoing some studio interference as well as Batman vs Superman and Justice League. And most DC fans were mostly panning Warner Brothers because they were rushing all their efforts into these DC films in order to compete with the Marvel Cinematic Universe because of how successful it is. And regarding with what they're doing with the upcoming Flash film, it seems like they're about to completely erase what Zack Snyder was setting up. And it all started with both Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman. And although Michael Keaton is set to return as the Tim Burton era Batman in The Flash, it also seems like it may be Ben Affleck's last time playing the current Batman in the DC Extended Universe, as it may seem. And for most fans, it does seem to raise a lot of concerns. And although Warner Brothers obviously want to move on from everything Snyder has set up, I feel like this may be a very strange place for where Affleck's time as Batman should stop. Because I don't really think that Affleck has actually played Batman that long enough. And he's only appeared in about, 3 films so far, if you count Suicide Squad. But I think the reason why they're getting rid of Ben Affleck, probably for good, is because he once spoke out against Joss Whedon given his experience on the 2017 Justice League film, calling it one of the worst experiences of his life. And the same went for Ray Fisher, the actor who played Cyborg, who also made some accusations against Joss Whedon. And that reason, given Joss Whedon's behaviour on set of the 2017 Justice League, and that reason also led to Fisher being dropped from the film altogether, and his character being written out. And like with most DC fans, I think I might have to agree, because Affleck was actually meant to star in 2 more Justice League films, as well as his own Batman film. But because Warner Brothers have already put their foot in it, it seems like they're going to kill off Ben Affleck's Batman before we can get to see any of those films. And have likely already cancelled those films before they went around to changing things for The Flash. However, it turned out that Warner Brothers was actually planning this from the beginning, as they were actually planning to stop the Snyderverse from continuing even after Zack Snyder's Justice League was successful. So once Ben Affleck is done, that means we won't see any more of Henry Cavill's Superman, or Ray Fisher's Cyborg, or any of the continuity that Snyder was trying to set up. But, if I recall correctly, the film's director, Andy Muschietti, said that he liked the Snyder Cut so much that he decided to change everything the studio was planning and continue from where Zack Snyder's Justice League left off. So it was actually in a way to stop fans worrying about the Snyderverse stopping dead in its tracks. But, as you can imagine, Warner Brothers apparently caught Muschietti red-handed, going and so they forced him to scrap his changes and continue with their original plans, as well as continuing to ignore everyone's plea of #restore the Snyderverse. And, as you can also imagine, this not only made fans extremely angry, but this also led them to launch their new hashtag boycott Warner Brothers. And because they cannot take any more of Warner Brothers crap or whatever, they are apparently still at war with Warner Brothers because they're no longer listening to them, completely ignoring them, because they want to see more of Snyder's stuff, but Warner Brothers just wants to move on, being petty and ignorant and probably, as you can imagine, stubborn, because they've done it before, they're doing it again now. Just like Ramesses ignoring Moses' plea to free his people from Egypt, and so on. Yep, the fans have gotten so fed up of Warner Brothers ignoring their requests that they've decided to call the shots yet again by launching their new hashtag, Boycott Warner Brothers. Now, I don't know how long this is going to go on for, but I might feel like it might concern me to the point where this might probably affect my future as a film director, because I normally look up stuff like this. Warner Brothers are changing things with their films, and I was actually thinking of doing a superhero film for DC, but I don't know what it's going to be like for me in case Warner Brothers might change something for me. So I don't even know, because I've actually made a video quite a few years ago called Top 10 Films I Will Do for the Future. And I haven't really listed down any superhero films in general, although I may have to expand that list and do some superhero films that I might eventually do for the future to come. Because for a long while of doing some research, even I've gotten fed up with studio interference, but as always, it's probably never going to stop. I don't know when they will stop, or when they will ever let the directors do their damn jobs for once. Because that's one of the basic things that's currently wrong with Hollywood at the moment, even if the main thing is all to do with money. And again, despite everyone's concern that this may be Ben Affleck's last time playing Batman, I still don't think this is the right send-off for his character. Because when you think back to films like Logan or No Time to Die, those films were the perfect send-offs for the actors playing their respective roles, despite both of them playing their roles for an extensively long time. And that all started with Hugh Jackman with his famous portrayal of Wolverine in the X-Men franchise. And he has been playing the role of Wolverine since 2000. And when the actor himself said he wanted Logan to be his last film playing Wolverine, we all knew that Logan would be his swan song. Even with No Time to Die being Daniel Craig's last time playing James Bond, even we knew that this would be the end of the line. And even though Harry Potter obviously didn't die in the Deathly Hallows Part 2, the film was still a perfect send-off to a hero's journey. And it even ended Daniel Radcliffe's long-running time as the character in great fashion. But again, despite Ben Affleck not playing his role of Batman that long enough, I still feel like this is an odd send-off, even if this is just Warner Brothers getting their way as usual. But you know, I find it hard to believe that despite that they are now getting rid of Ben Affleck, Warner Brothers actually defended him as Batman a few years ago when he was first cast. Because all the way back in 2013, Ben Affleck's casting caused a lot of hate, and people absolutely hated the idea that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, even though he did eventually turn in quite a decent performance in the end.
Well, here I am.
And although Ben Affleck's Batman does have some dividers, I still think that he should at least do a couple more films before he can get his real send-off. But probably not in The Flash though. But if Warner Brothers want to get their way, that's their loss. So that's it for my video for today. Apparently I don't have any more thoughts or anything else to add. But I could say I did expect a little bit more from Warner Brothers anyway. They could have just stood aside and let the directors do their job, but when it comes to superhero films, apparently that's not really the case. So they're going to continue to muck with their films. Apparently, as fans, we know there's not really much we can do about it, really. Even if we will continue to launch the hashtags and try to get their attention and make them listen for once. Just as long as something may eventually be of value, though. Even though Zack Snyder did put down this tweet saying, "Don't lose hope." Even though it still brought concern of fans that they're going to lose hope anyway because the Snyderverse is going to be gone out of existence and Warner Brothers just want to move on, as usual. Okay guys, I'll be back with another video sometime later, and I'll see you guys again another time. Ta-da!